rich friends, it's your girl Cha Cha reporting live from the Money Mantra, and we are back with another Forex education video. I created my channel to help as many people as possible become independent and profitable traders. So if that's something that you've been looking to do, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Now, if you are new here, welcome. I do encourage you to explore some of the content that I have. I have almost 300 videos and they're organized pretty good with playlists on indicators, candlesticks, and strategies. So look around and make yourself comfortable. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. You already know this is going to be a quick and informative video, pretty much giving you a tip or trick that I've learned that has helped me throughout my trading journey. So if you want to connect with me outside of YouTube or you have any questions, you can check out the links down below in my description box. And if you get to the end of this video and you find that it's helpful, make sure you like it, leave me a comment, or share it with another trader. So in today's quick video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a weekly analysis, or how I do my weekly analysis. And this is going to be a price action analysis, which means we're not going to focus on the indicators, but more so what the candles are doing and what they're telling us about the price. So the first thing you want to do is head over to tradingview.com. This is the website that I like to do my charting on, but anything else you use will work. You can even do this on your phone as well. So if we were looking at the weekly chart, the first thing we want to do is go to our time frames and make sure that the weekly is selected. Now there are all these different time frames from the 1 minute all the way up to 12 months, but we're going to focus on 1 week. Now the next thing that you want to do, because something we need to understand is that the market works on support and resistance, supply and demand. And that means that there are going to be these key areas that we want to target when we want to buy and sell, basically using previous highs and lows in the market. So for example, we can see that this area was a great area for a sell because the market would get up to that point and then sell. And it would get up and then it would sell. And then it would get up to that point and then it would sell. And if you notice what's happening, it's also selling back down to the same point. So when you see these common areas at the top, these are known as areas of resistance, which we have here. And the market taps it multiple times. And when you see these common areas at the bottom, it's called areas of support. And you'll notice that the market, again, is always trading between channels. And sometimes it breaks out, and that's what we call a reversal. So again, we're going to focus on the weekly candle. Just take these drawings off, and this is what we're going to do. So we're just going to look at last week's candle since this week is still in progress. I'm going to come over to my free tools bar over here, and I'm going to go to my lines, and I'm going to get a horizontal ray. And I like to use a ray because it doesn't go across the entire screen. It starts at the specific candle, and that's what I'm looking to do. So I'm going to click horizontal ray. I'm going to turn on my magnet tool so that it locks. And the first thing I want to do is put a ray at the top of the weekly candle. And we can see it locked there. And this is the price, the high for the week. Now, the next thing you want to do is add a ray to the previous line as well, the bottom, or we can even use this one. So now we have a weekly resistance at the top, and we have a weekly support. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this down to a smaller time frame, which is the daily. So we can see on our daily chart that the market is actually closer to the support than it is to the resistance. Now, this means that we could potentially sell down to support, or we can wait until it gets back up to resistance to set a sell limit. But let's just keep zooming in to see if we can find a better entry point since we know the market is near resistance. Okay, so we're looking at it on the 4-hour, and we can see this is our weekly resistance. But as we zoom in, we can see that we're actually starting to see lower areas of resistance, and the market is still close to our weekly support. So looking at this, and now that we've zoomed in, if we were to enter this trade for a sell, we could enter at market execution and sell down to the weekly support, or we could set a pending order at a previous smaller area of resistance. But even though we've zoomed out, we can see that this is still our weekly resistance, and this is our weekly support. Zooming in just helps us find a better entry to capture the trend. Because if we were to put a horizontal line here, right, we can see that the market was having a hard time getting past this area, and there actually was a smaller resistance on a smaller time frame. Let's go to the hour, and we can see it even more clearly. Even though this market has been selling for the week, we don't have to wait for it to retrace back to the weekly high when we can see that there's a smaller area of resistance or closer area of resistance on our hourly time frame. So again, we can enter this for a market execution sell, and we will set our TP at the weekly support because we can see it more clearly. Or if you want to wait and potentially get a better entry, you could set a sell limit at your lower resistance, and your TP will still be below. So instead of the market just dropping straight down, if you were to set a pending order, you would expect the market to retrace from this point and then come back down. So doing a weekly analysis doesn't have to be hard at all. You just have to figure out where's your weekly resistance, where's your weekly support, and then go to your smaller time frames to find a better entry. So we'll look at one more chart. Let's look at AUD USD, for example, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the previous week's candle, and we're going to get a horizontal ray. Make sure your magnet is on. And we're going to put our ray at the most recent low. And then we're also going to put a ray at the most recent high. But we're going to use a previous week's candle because this week's candle hasn't closed yet. So let's lock it in. So now we have a zone. Now let's go down to the daily. And on the daily, we can see that the market is closer to the weekly support than it is the weekly resistance. So we can decide to get in for market execution and buy up to this point, or we could wait for the market to retrace, set a buy limit, and then it will go back up. Now let's look at it on the 4-hour, and we may have to zoom out. Okay. So on the 4-hour, we can see we have another closer or smaller area of support here. And then we also see our weekly TP is not that far off. It's about 60 pips. And it looks like the market will continue there. We can go down to the hour. And again, once you're looking at it on these smaller time frames, things become a lot more clear because we can see that the market is close to support, not only on the weekly, but also on the hourly time frame. Now, if you're a scalper, you don't have to always go to the highest time frame, but if you plan to hold your trades for a little bit of time, or you just want a more clear analysis, it does help if you look at it on higher time frames and use those previous areas of support and resistance. So I really hope that this video was helpful. If it didn't make sense, but you get it a little bit, you can rewatch the video. Make sure you take notes, and more importantly, make sure you actually test and try this out. I'm just telling you guys things that have worked for me, but you're going to have to break down everything you learn, whether it's from me or other YouTubers, and you have to decide if it makes sense, because everything doesn't need to be used for every single trade. So you can just take all these bits and pieces of things that you've learned, and you can create your own trading style, which I encourage you to do. So that's really all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions about this video or any other video I posted on YouTube, make sure you leave those questions down below in the comment box. If this video was helpful and you actually learned something, don't just watch. Make sure you subscribe and share it, because if it helped you, you know that it could help one of your trader friends as well. But that's really all I have for you guys today. Until next time, rich friends.
Yeah.